Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on that Freeform Network. Remember to follow us on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. But for Freeform Radio, I am Daniel, here with Noel.
Hey, Noel here. Just trying to stay cool during this heat wave we're dealing with.
Yes, sir. It's a little warmish, but not too bad outside today. And we have Andy.
It's all good, Andy, and we're here in my studio office, and hopefully get to fill it up, and so it won't be so echoey.
Yeah, the new and improved studio Andres there, kicking off today.
Gotta get a sponsor.
For sure. But let's jump into our conversation of the week. We got Noel rewatching Naruto. Is that the way you pronounce it? These are old animes, right? I know they're really popular. Fill us in on what you're rewatching, man.
So yeah, this is Naruto Shippuden, it's called. It's the sequel show from the original, just plain Naruto. So this is like the continuation of the original show, and now he's a little bit older. The main character is Naruto, and it's an anime that back when I was like 18 years old, my cousins kind of introduced me to Japanese anime that was like mainstream at that time. So Naruto was one of those shows, and it was a cool concept. Um, Deals with like a lot of fantasy stuff. Obviously, it's anime. You're gonna have elements and attacks, and it's kind of like a magic type stuff. But there's ninjas, there's demons, there's all sorts of forbidden techniques that people do, and it involves martial arts and chakra and all sorts of like esoteric stuff, and it's got cool aspect to it, and the world building was pretty good, where there's multiple villages, and sometimes they have wars against each other, and they all use their own specific techniques of how to fight, and some people have like special eyes that can see through like buildings and see through people's like bodies and identify stuff, and there's other people with eyes that can see your attacks coming before you even do it, and it's just all over the place. They have so many different abilities that it's just really cool, and so I've been watching it. Well, I watched it originally when it came out in 2007, and it ran about 10 years, ending in March of 2017. And I watched the whole thing week after week after week for those 10 years, and it was good. But the thing is, with these two shows, Naruto and the Shippuden that I'm watching, rewatching now, there's a lot of filler episodes. And I mean, do you guys know what fillers are?
Yeah, there's nothing to do with like episodes that they have nothing to do with the overall story arc. It's just like let's
Exactly.
throw this thing in here and change it up, and then we'll get back to the story next week or whatever.
Yeah, so they
So,
really.
so on Naruto, is it one overarching story and then there's a bunch of little stories?
So there's one overarching story going on from the very beginning of the first episode to the very end of the last episode of Shippuden.
Okay.
So way back from Naruto, the original show, episode one, literally Naruto is being born, and they put a demon inside of him to save the village because the demon was attacking the village, and the only way to save and stop it was to seal half of the demon into Naruto, the son of the, I guess you can consider it like the general of the army. The general of the army is tasked with protecting the village and all the people within it. It's like one big family, and it's thousands of ninjas and people and all sorts of restaurants, and just a village full of people. So there's this like general who's the strongest military wise, who has abilities and all that, and he protects the village by sacrificing his own life to seal away the demon that's attacking the village into his son. But for spoilers here, like it ends up being that the demon that attacked the village did so under the influence of one of the subordinates, the former subordinates of one of the generals, of the general that died, of Naruto's dad. They call him the Hokage is what they call him, and he's the fourth general or Hokage of the village. And way back before he was the general, he had his own little squad that he would like train, and they would go on missions. And one of the subordinates, one of his, younger pupils that was learning from him, ended up supposedly dying, but in reality he was kind of healed and resurrected in a secluded area, and he grew to have hatred for the village. So he eventually came back, forced the demon to attack the village, which forced his former captain, or the now general, to sacrifice his life, the life of his wife, to seal the demon in his son. And then so that's Naruto. That's the very first episode. That's how it starts out off the gate. So that's why it's pretty wild. And it kind of hooked me from the beginning. And obviously so much crazy stuff happens, but I'm just kind of rewatching it. Um, Again, I was going back to the fillers. There's a lot of fillers, and that's why this show kind of gets shit on a lot, especially by people that like really are into anime, that love that anime and style. A lot of people, they like and they love and hate Naruto because they, if you watched it week after week after week, like people watch, Simpsons or Family Guy or whatever every Sunday or whatever it is, you are gonna have to be forced to watch these fillers, and it could last like a month. It could last 6 months of just pure fillers, week after week after week. So when you finally watch it and you skip all the fillers and you just break it down to what's actually relevant to the story, it's so much more palatable, man, and it's so much more entertaining. So I'm really glad I'm rewatching it. I mean, it's been almost 10 years since the show finished, which is 2017. So it's cool to rewatch it right now. I'm enjoying it, and I would recommend it for anybody that's into anime. It's worthy of watching.
How many
But
episodes is it? I mean, is this thing like one of those other animes that's like 1,000 episodes?
That's a good question. Let me actually. It looks
Yeah,
like
because
it's
what's that?
500.
What's that pirate one where the guy's like stretchy arms and stuff? That's like 1,000 episodes. It's like 15 seasons or something.
Yeah, One Piece, man. That's been going since '99, dude. That one's
Right.
even older. But yeah, this one, just Shippuden, is 500. But you know what's ironic is like about half of that is filler, man. So you could literally just wipe out 200 episodes and bring it down to 300 or 250, and that's the actual show. So there is a list out there on the web. There's a website that shows you like these are the relevant episodes. These are sometimes mixed filler, mixed regular, like they call it canon. So like manga, which is the book, the comic book that came out, they call it manga canon. So there's a filler list that's definitely you should utilize that. So that way you could just condense it down to what's actually relevant. But
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Why don't they make it like Thunder in Paradise, Andy, where all the shows are just mainline shows, man? There's no fillers in that.
well, that's the thing. Like our older shows, that was like the knock in the '90s. They would put filler shows, and then like the 2000s is when like they said get the hell with that, and they started condensing the seasons. Remember back then, I mean, like X Files and these are considered like good shows when they came out. NYPD Blue, ER, those were like 24 episodes in a season. Now all the good shows, it's like 13 or less. Like anything over that is like crazy. Um, they kind of got away from that. Because we went through that golden age of TV with like Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad. None of them were over 20 episodes in a season. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's better. Um, but like The Simpsons, there's a joke in one of the seasons where like, Lisa's like, isn't it weird that all our problems get solved in like a half hour? And they laugh. He's like, what are you talking about? And then, but yeah, I'm going back to what the show. So you said they had a first run and then they brought it back. Um, I just know the character with the guy with the blonde hair and the orange jumpsuit. I know a lot of millennials or younger people like it. I never got into it. Where did you see it? Was this on like Cartoon Network, or you're just getting like videos or bootlegging it, or like DVDs or something?
Back when I first started watching it, it's kind of hard to remember because this was like 2006, 2007 era. Internet was like getting
Like
better, but
torrented? Yeah, like were you
I
being
did
torrents?
streaming. I think I did streaming, but I just can't remember the websites. I think it was like animefreak.net or something like that.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of those streaming sites back in the day that it was like choppy 360p quality, It takes forever to buffer because like the internet is it's just sluggish, and it's not like how it is now. Everybody's got max internet. You could download like a freaking terabyte in like an hour.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like my sister, she liked anime. She watched some show where a guy had a monkey on his shoulder all the time. And they had like ninja swords. She watched a ton of that. She liked, but that was all on
Cartoon Network,
Cartoon Network, the night when Adult Swim
Adult
or
Swim,
the
yeah.
Toonami or whatever, like Saturday nights. You remember they had brought on all these Japanese shows, and she was watching that. But I don't know. I mean, some of it, like what's the other one? Dragon Ball Z. Like I know some people that got into that. I tried watching. I couldn't get into it. But everybody likes what they like. I mean, we went through that anime phase, but we were like, that's when they were peak, like Japanese 80s. Peak was like movies. They made a ton of anime movies. The shows weren't as popular yet. I think the closest they came to it, there was like Transformers only made for Japan and all that, and like Asia, that we didn't know about here in the States.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of anime out there that like not a, doesn't have the mainstream appeal in the modern day the way it did back in the day. This Naruto stuff though, it's such a moneymaker, dude. Like they made toys, they made video games, they made actual feature movies like that you could go to the theater to watch. So that this is like such a big moneymaker for the Japanese company that they I guess created it or the creator of it. But yeah, that stuff in the '80s, man, that was good classic stuff. And I mean, I thank God, man. I grew up on all the American stuff as well as the Japanese stuff, and so I do remember Fist of the North Star. I remember
Yeah,
Ninja Scroll.
Go
Uh,
Logo. Yeah.
yeah, the
Fist
Street
of the
Fighter
North Star. Yeah,
series.
the Street Fighters were good. I think Street Fighter was the first one where I guess they made it into a show or something, or they were releasing like a ton of fucking tapes for it.
Yeah,
That's all I remember for like that were I considered somewhat of a show, I guess.
remember
We had
back
to
in the
go to
day in
like
Comic Con?
Suncoast. Yeah, or Comic Con with the bootlegs. Yeah.
Yeah, good times, man. But yeah, so that's Naruto, man. I do recommend it for anyone that's interested in like ninjas and Japanese anime. It's worthy of watching. But moving on really quick, just to summarize this last thing. Cheapers Creepers. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Back in 2001 it came out. You ever seen
I
it?
just know the song.
Yeah.
That's a movie, right?
Yeah. It's a horror movie with Justin Long. It's got Gina Phillips. It's got a few people here that you might recognize, but really quick, it's just like it's a horror movie about this that they're like driving through like the country, Florida countryside. It says here an old truck violently tailgates them, but eventually passes. They later stumble on the same truck parked next to an abandoned church, with the driver dumping what appears to be bodies wrapped in bloodstained sheets into a large pipe sticking out of the ground. The driver then notices them and gives chase and forcing them off the road. And so, long story short, the person that's the murderer is ends up being this like creature. It's called a creeper, and every I think 23 years for 23 days, it harvests and feeds on human body parts to make it part of its own body. I guess to kind of nourish himself for 23 more years. Kind of reminds me of that X Files episode. What's his name? Victor Toombs or whatever. The
All right.
One of those guys that like he would always steal people's like organs and like to kind of like prolong his life. He's like super old and
Right.
still looks young. Yeah, so it's kind of similar to that, but this guy looks creepy, man. He looks like kind of like Predator's like cousin or something. It's like It's pretty creepy, but yeah, he's called the Creeper, and some people know about him. Um, and anyway, this brother and sister are driving through the country, and they're trying to escape him, and it gives me like Texas Chainsaw vibes because it's like the people in that countryside, they kind of know what's up, and they're just like, nah, we ain't helping these people, like fuck it. And yeah, it's interesting. I don't really want to spoil it because it's actually a pretty good, decent movie if you like horror movies. So I do recommend it. The ending's pretty wild, and there's a good amount of like creepiness to it.
Yeah, I kind
Didn't
of recall the box art. Wasn't it like in the cornfield somewhere, and it's like a scarecrow hanging? Or, oh, I'm sorry, is that part two?
So there is a part in the first one where yeah he pretends to kind of be a scarecrow, and then one of the neighbors is like, "Oh shit! Like what the hell is that? Like we don't have scarecrows." And they're like, she busts out a shotgun, and it's pretty funny in like some regards, but mainly it's like it's actually pretty creepy. Um, yeah, I don't want to spoil it, man, because if you guys do watch it, it's actually I'd rather you guys watch it without any spoilers. So.
Yeah, I think all I know is I think there was sequels to this like direct to video stuff. I think
Mhm.
because I remember seeing them. I remember seeing them. That's how I know of it. And yeah, I mean that's all I know about the franchise, really, the movie and the song.
Yeah, there's a few movies. I think at least two. Actually, looks like three. At least the main guy that was the creeper, he was in the third one in 2017, and the second one. Let's see, what year was that? 2003. So yeah, 2001, 2003, and 2017. Looks like there's three of them, but I've only seen the first two. Haven't seen the third. Definitely worth watching the first one though. That one's probably the most creepy and original.
So let me ask you this, Bruno. Like, you watch all these horror films, and they make all these sequels. Have you seen The Lost Boys?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I have
Do
watched it.
you consider that like a horror movie?
Um, nah, it's one of those like where it touches multiple genres.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it's pure horror, no. Not like
Uh,
your classic horror like Exorcist or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm bringing it up because they had forever people, the fans wanted a sequel, and they didn't do it forever. And then like when the DVDs came out, like the peak DVDs when everybody was just selling them, they made two direct to video sequels and like nobody knows about them. Like I watched them and I mean they are what they are. I mean they're all right, but the only people that return is the Frog Brothers, and they started focusing the franchise, I guess, around them, and it was weird, but yeah, I just those are the things when I think of like to me, I consider it a horror movie because they made those sequels.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like when almost everybody wants, I guess, their project to be like a big money making franchise. So The Lost Boys, it being like critically acclaimed or like people received it well when it came
Yes.
out, they probably just want to make more money off of it. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out, man. Freaking Donatello couldn't, pull it through on the other one. Corey Feldman, what's his name?
The two Corys, and
Yeah.
Sutherland was in it, Kiefer Sutherland, and um, yeah, and it took forever, dude. Like it was made in the '80s. I think in like the 2000s is when they made the first sequel, and then they made another one, and I'm just like, well, the other one must have done decent, right? And then they did another, and then they just stopped. But yeah, to me, it's like I said, I don't know if it's a horror because it, like you said, it touches a lot of genres.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like purely horror. It's probably like, I don't know, mixture of like horror, comedy, sci-fi.
Right, right, yeah.
But yeah, man, one thing that is not horror, but it's still kind of disturbing is Infowars, man. Tell me, dude, is it over or what's going on with it?
So I don't know. It looks like Danny's gonna go in depth. You saw a documentary that I haven't seen, but basically, Infowars, as you know it, as of today, like it might be done. But I was reading that, the Sandy Hook, Alex Jones found liable for like $1 billion plus, and for his show, because he called it what it is. And so he declared bankruptcy and all this stuff. But apparently he went crying last weekend. From the time of this recording, talking about he got tricked, and the feds are trying to seize his operations and all this stuff. And he's there crying, and then he went back to court. And then, as of today of the recording, I was reading that the judge ruled that they can go after Alex's Jones's assets, like his houses and stuff. But the InfoWars and the company that owns all that, his network, that's still up in the air. But it looked like it was ready to go down. But they're trying to get a hold of. The Sandy Hook families want to go after like his social media stuff, like his Twitter and Facebook or whatever he uses to get out there. I know he's back on X, I should say, Twitter, but they want to take control of that. And I was reading also, I heard that if they get shut down, he has something lined up with allegedly with X to have a show on there. I don't know, but the InfoWars as we know it, like .com and band.video and the store, I think all that's coming to an end, because they're going to start seizing all that and auctioning off and liquidating everything to pay for the lawsuit that he lost. And yeah, man, like say what you will about Alex Jones, he was the first one to do all this shit, like with the radio and then the internet and then the tapes and DVDs in the store, and he always managed to survive. But now he's in trouble. I don't know if he's gonna make it, or like he's gonna be around, but the InfoWars and all that is not. I think that's gonna come to an end. He's gonna have to start something separate, or I don't know what he's gonna do. I mean, you guys, I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with Alex Jones. I call him AJ. I think he's always been. When I was younger, I took him more seriously. Now it's more. He says stuff, but there's a lot of truth into what he says because he reads a lot. And then with Joe Rogan, had him on, I think he got a little bit more popular. But he says some stuff on there which was true, and then he says some stuff like, someone threw me on my head, and like all this stuff. I'm somewhat like slow or retarded, I think was the word he used. And I'm just like, that's not gonna help you, man. But it is what it is. But it's kind of after Trump got elected, I did feel like he had this target, and he kind of knew it, and he was like living it up. And then they started banning him and all that stuff, and now they're going after him personally, like not his company, from this recent ruling. And I was like, whoa, like that was like, they're not going after the company, they're going after him, where they're trying to like bankrupt them or something, like take everything he got. So that's the scary part. Usually I know there's when you have a podcast like we do and media companies, there's insurance you could purchase for like stuff like this if you say stupid shit. But I don't know what the premium is on that. So I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I don't know how much you know about it. Danny might have some better insight, but they're going after him, and then they're going to go after the website. So, what do you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, they tried to take his company money, but he's holding back withholdings. And like you mentioned in the documentary that I watched, they talked about that, how they kept asking, like, what are your earnings? What money are you bringing into the company? And at least according to the documentary, supposedly he was hiding a lot of that stuff and he wasn't forthright. So he almost automatically lost the court case because he wasn't providing the information that the court needed. So at the end of the documentary, it said something, I don't recall what it said, but it said something like, since the 2 years since the verdict, Alex Jones has yet to pay a single dime out of the ruling, or something like that. So I know it's real difficult to recoup money. You can get a court case going your way for, $10 million, but it's the collecting part that's probably going to be the next hardest challenge.
So any thoughts, Noah, or like, do you even like? I mean, like, you guys watched his? Have you been on his website? Watch any of it? Like, what do you
Uh,
think? You think it's a character? I was told he's like an actor and stuff, and all this other goofy shit.
you know, I don't know like too much about him. I just know, I guess basic stuff. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast multiple times. I've seen maybe an episode here or there of his, but it's been a long time. Like I don't really know much about where he began or much about him personally, but some of the stuff he says has been proven to be true, and I think that's why he's going through what he's going through is that people want to silence him. And he spits a lot of facts, man, and that's what. But he has been caught, I guess, being wrong a few times. But a lot of stuff is what he's saying is like it's mind blowing, So
Oh, I mean,
it,
seriously, after he predicted 9/11, I mean, that's documented, as he would say, and he predicted a lot of things. But I think what really did him in is when he went and supported Trump, and Trump went on this show before, when on his first election, and he was boasting how he helped them get elected because he was saying this guy's legitimate, he's not part of this, and the shy comes and all that stuff he gets into. And from there on, I think the opposite party of Trump, like the Democrats, allegedly, the Hillary mentioned him by name, and like he really became like this huge target. And that, to me, I think he had more influence than they thought. They thought he was just like this nut, but then they saw that, and then like they really went after him, and like they kicked him out of Twitter and all the social media stuff. And then he still survived all that. He just had people going to his website and his video site because they kicked him off of YouTube and everything. He still got through. And then the January 6th stuff, whatever you want. He gave this long. He went on this podcast and broke down what they're trying to get him to do, stuff that he didn't want to. Um, and then yeah, and then he still survived. And then the whole thing with the QAnon or whatever, the Q people, he went to war with them. And then yeah, it just got crazy. And the lawsuit, yeah, I think the lawsuit really did them in. And then they're just trying to bankrupt them now, and it looks like they succeeded. I mean, he'll be around. It's just he won't be making money off it like he used to, I think. And yeah, I mean, it sucks. I liked the stuff, his spiel, his character, because he went on these crazy rants. And then but in all that craziness there was truth. And and then so to me, that's why I said, like, it's I feel bad for him. I hope maybe if Trump gets elected, he gets some help. But this is all like a civil matter, and I don't think there's nothing they could do. Like, they're doing what they did to him, they're doing to Trump right now with all the civil stuff. And oh, he lied what the worth of his properties are. Like, who the fuck doesn't do that? The insurance says, I recently moved. I got a letter from them. They're estimating the value of my house is more than what I paid for it. So am I, like, legally, am I in trouble here? Like, what am I? No, 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 no. That's what the insurance estimates it to be. So I don't know. Like, everybody does that. And there's some other stuff. Like, I'm not saying he's perfect, but yeah, I think they're just throwing everything at him. And I remember listening to another podcast, people who have like some serious, like, successful, and they got people who pay. There's insurance you can buy in case someone tries to sue you if you say something dumb. And you have like some type of insurance. I forgot what he called it, but it's not that much. But it was, ironically, it was a wrestling podcast. That's what made me laugh. Like, what, Vince McMahon's gonna sue you guys or something? But yeah, he goes, yeah, you never know. And he goes, it's not that expensive because they'll sue the company. They won't go after you personally.
I don't know, man. To me, just because everybody does it doesn't mean that you should do it. I mean, everybody speeds, so should they stop giving speeding tickets? No, you should give speeding tickets and deter people from breaking the law. To me, Alex Jones, he spit out 100 things a day, and maybe four of them will be truthful. The rest would just be random stuff that he found, or that he had his cronies looking for. There was a while that I was listening to Alex Jones, and he did say a lot of stuff that was very interesting, a lot of stuff that people don't want to be told or that they hide secret. So he was spitting out a lot of facts, but it's like a broken clock. It's going to be right twice a day, but all the other times during the day, it's going to be wrong, and it's not going to show the correct time. So
Damn,
Al-
Danny, man.
Alex Jones, he is very informative. Like you said, he gave a lot of information that what did end up being truthful. But also in that same way, it's like casino players. They tell you when they win, but let's put up all the times that he bet and he lost. This guy, they showed it even in the documentary that you mentioned that I watched. It was on HBO, I believe, and it shows how the guys would come up and be like, "Hey, we found this and this on Sandy Hook. We think it's, you know, the dad is a drug dealer or whatever. Yeah, yeah, let's go on the air with that. I'm going on the air in 5 minutes. Type something up." And they wouldn't even fact check. They wouldn't check anything. That a lot of stuff, it would just be people bringing information to him, and he would spout it on the show live, and none of it might be truthful. And as a journalist or being a man that spouts out information, you should fact check some of it, or you should preface it and be like, "This is my opinion. Here it is." Kind of like
But
in
yeah,
this podcast.
that's
To
the
me,
thing. Yeah, where like you said, the news media, the way they type stuff now, like you said, they used to maybe fact check or whatever, they had checked their sources. But now the way they type stuff, all the words they use, where it's like they're alleging you're this, or like unnamed sources say this. It's just the way everything's worded, and that's the problem. And then the whole media right now, especially corporate media, and that's the thing where it's a big fucking problem. And like the independent people, like people on YouTube and like Rumble and the ones that started their own stuff, that's the like the new thing now. Like it's the way how everything is worded. Even the fact checkers, when they say something, it's like, well, this is not true, but it's the way what they're wording is how they're fact checking, even though it's like bullshit. And so it's a real fucking mess in this country when it comes with the news lately, and it's people are going into their own bubbles, believing their own people, and like what you said, they're not really doing that much research because they're hearing it from someone they listen to all the time.
Yeah, man, it's crazy though, just like the world we live in, where like they're really going hard after Alex Jones, but all these other media outlets can get away with a lot of the crap that they got away with during the COVID stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we don't see CNN going bankrupt, right? And it's like, and they were the most obvious
They
show ever, man.
had the guy, he joined that Valuetainment. I don't know if you guys watched that, PDB or whatever.
Oh, Patrick Bet David, right?
Yeah, that guy, the Arab in like Miami, like a real American, and he hired Chris Cuomo, who was on CNN, and they brought him on this like live podcast, and they had people there, and he would say, they were going on to him about COVID, and like, oh, you said this. He's like, I didn't say that. And then they showed the clips, and he's like, well, that's what we knew at the time. That's what I was being told. Like they won't admit like what they're saying. Now there's this big like people are like looking back and they're like, well, this was all fucked up. This wasn't handled right. And that's one thing America does great. I'll give them this. We are good at looking back and saying, you guys fucked up, or you fucked this up, or this wasn't done right. We're America's the best at hindsight. They've done it from like wars to now. This is what happened. They're great at saying this person fucked up. And now you're starting to see where they're going after Fauci. like everybody's coming out the woodwork saying that he fucked up, and he's admitting like, well, I don't know, I was just kind of like, I thought it would be a good thing, the social distance. Now they're saying like it didn't really work, the vaccines and like, you know, allegedly all this stuff, and they're having meetings in Congress, and people on both sides are messing up. The news media saying he messed up. It's like now people are pissed off about that. They kind of got the feeling, you know, they read the room, man. A lot of people are pissed off about this. Oh shit! Like let's go and start shitting on Fauci. Even now he admits like, oh, he believed, if I remember correctly, it's a leak, not like this bad thing or whatever the hell happened. I think he kind of said that in the last hearing that was like a couple weeks ago. Now he's changing their tune. You know, when Trump said it, they went fucking nuts. He's racist, and now it's everybody saying like, yeah, it's a leak, but they didn't want to say that back then for whatever reasons. I don't know if they were afraid to piss off the Chinese or they had dealings. Like always, it's about money. Who knows? But people now are just they're really like pissed off how the pandemic was handled, and a lot of those people are just upset, man. They didn't like what they saw. People got sick, and then, you know, and then say what you will about the vaccine. You guys do your own research. A lot of people are pissed that they took it. It is what it is.
Yeah, to me, I still feel like it's the circumstance that we're in. It was happening quickly, fast. People are looking for answers. So if you go, oh, just hold on for like 2 months while we research this and people are dying in the street, you got to say something. So you just take your best guess, I guess.
I'm gonna have to disagree. That Fauci's job was for that very reason, for that pandemic, and he failed miserably. His whole job was for that. Hell, they did a documentary, I think, on HBO about him, talking about how he was like this mastermind. Or like I saw the trailer and I saw clips of it. I'm like, nah, man. Like they're putting this guy in a pedestal. But I know this: he was the longest serving guy at that position, and he was getting paid a lot of money. And I remember everybody saying his job is just this. Like this is what he was trained for, to prevent this and this. And like now people they're not looking very fondly at him. I think that's why he left. And we'll see what happens, man. Like, you know, let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com. Like, I don't know how much of you guys saw any of those like hearings or anything, or you saw clips of it. You know, do you guys have any thoughts? Or do you love Fauci? You got pillows of him in your bed or something?
No, I never
Like
liked it
certain
from the get-go,
governors?
man. And not just him, just most of the politicians and the people in charge throughout that whole pandemic. I thought it was just corruption, and they were just trying to make money, which they did, and made tons of money. They made
Yeah.
Pfizer so much more rich, and they took away our freedoms. Um, I even remember Schwarzenegger, "Fuck your freedom," and then I'm just like, wow, dude, like I don't know if you guys remember that, but like
Yeah.
crazy
A lot of
time,
people
dude.
went crazy, dude. Yeah. It was, I mean, yeah. We'll talk about it some other time, but yeah, it was not great. This country was struggling at that time, and we were fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let's change it up here, man. I think Danny has the right idea. He saw the OG Planet of the Apes um, with Charlton Heston, one of America's greatest actors. Um, I have a feeling I think he's not gonna like this movie too much, and I know why. But well, what did you think, Dan? I love the original Planet of the Apes. They used to have marathons on cable TV all the time of the Planet of the Apes. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know, man.
Yeah, I've seen it before. With the new movie, I believe it's out on theaters now. Um, I'm like, let's watch a couple of the Planet of the Apes and kind of, recall some where they're at, so that when I watch it, I know what's going on. And I couldn't figure out what was the first remake movie at the time. I was Googling around. I couldn't find a good timeline, and I got pissed off. And I'm like, screw it. We're just going to watch the original. I didn't intend to watch all of them, but I'm like, let's watch the original and then we'll see how it goes. And yeah, I don't remember it being this slow, man. It was a slow builder. I know that's how they used to make movies back in the day. I've even watched some of my like favorite like spaghetti westerns, and there's like all these like unnecessary scenes, and
Unnecessary.
I get it. I get it now that the attention span of younger people is very quick. So I'm not saying it needs to be rapid fire scenes either, like Fast and the Furious kind of stuff. It could be developing, but it needs to have dialogue. It needs to have like a clear purpose instead of just somebody walking, showing that he's thirsty and tired, and it goes on for like no lie, like 2.5 minutes of just him walking with no dialogue and just like some eerie music. It's like it's too long. It's too much. Like if you're trying to stretch this thing out to make it a full blown movie, you need to add more dialogue. You need to add more scenes. It's like something else, or it just needs to be a short film. But um, I don't want to shit on Planet of the Apes per se. I just think that that was the style back then, that filming style. But the movie was still excellent. I still like it. Classic. You know, he hurts his throat and can't talk. The apes capture him, and then they start kind of like torturing him and treating him like an animal. Um, you know how we would treat animals in the zoo and whatnot. And it's a very good put together movie. Classic lines: "Get your dirty hands off me, your ape," or and it's just like some really good stuff. Um, I really enjoyed it, but it does show its age. It came out in 1968, so it really does show its age. I know you're really fond of it. Charlton Heston, like you said, the NRA spokesman for many years. How do you feel, Andy? Have you seen it recently? Do you still
Yeah,
hold it up on a
I see it
pedestal?
like every year, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's the build up. Like they're talking about the 2.5 minutes, and then once he gets there, like sees like humans are wild and shit or feral as the kids use now, and they're building up to hear that monkey talk, and then it was a book originally that it was a novel, and then they made the movie. I'm gonna give you that. The sequels, like it's just interesting to see where they go with the franchise. But I mean, Charlton Heston is like a great actor. I mean, American actor. I think he's done more science fiction. He's done westerns. He's done everything. Um, but that movie, yeah, it was to this day I watch it, and I watch it at least once a year. I got it, and they made that remake with the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch was okay. But my thing is like in the movie that the way they explained how the monkeys was a nuclear war, um, they kind of changed it on that remake they made in the last 10 years where it's like a virus. And I didn't like that, but it made sense now how, knowing what we know about viruses now after the pandemic. But yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's, I think, one of the top 50 American movies ever made. Even it's a science fiction, and then it had some political commentary in there too about young people and old people, and then the hierarchy of the apes, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean it's like always, dude. Like the movie when he's trying to explain stuff, Charlton Heston to the apes of what could have happened. It's like the status quo. No, we know this and this, and he's always trying to explain shit, but nobody wants to listen. So it's like what's going on to this very day. You try to explain stuff to a new theory about whatever, but there's like what they teach you in school and what it is, and nobody wants to change that because everything they've been taught is not right. So um, to me, it's a
Have
great
you
movie. I highly recommend it.
have you seen it, Noel?
You know, I think I have. It's
It's been
been
a
a
while,
while. Yeah, it's been
right?
years, man. Like at least 4 or 5 years. But I did like it. It is a little long, many hours to watch, but very entertaining. Definitely more entertaining than the Mark Wahlberg one that's the one that I initially watched because I was like 12 or 13 when that came out. Um, and then I watched the newer ones too with what's his name? Forgot
They
the main
changed
Uh,
up the
actor.
characters, but yeah,
Ja,
Caesar. Yeah,
yeah, what the hell's the actor? The one that
the
started
first
off
one is the
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 father?
marijuana guy,
Yeah, James Franco.
Franco. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Franco. Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah, James Franco. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah, James
Yeah.
Franco. But it's funny how now I haven't seen it in a long time, but I saw it when it first came out. But that Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch one, I kind of dug it when it came out. I'd have to rewatch it now that I watched the OG, and in a second I'll go into the 2011 with James Franco. But I dug it with Marky Mark. I thought it was okay.
And Heston made a cameo in that movie, in
Right.
the Marky Mark one. So I thought it was visually. I thought that movie was great. The story was kind of weird, but I mean, it was okay. I wish they would have got a better lead. I didn't. I wasn't feeling Marky Mark, but the story kind of made sense. But it wasn't with that whole monkey being shot into space. Like I didn't like that. So, but other than that, yeah, it was okay.
And you didn't like that one, Noel?
The Mark Wahlberg one, not that I didn't like it, I just didn't like it comparatively to like the either the new one with the James Franco or the original. It's kind of like the middle child, you know. It's
Okay.
uh,
All right. No, I could feel that as well because jumping into the 2011 one, I watched the new reboot version, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the first one with James Franco, and that one is a super excellent movie. To me, it's a step up from the original Planet of the Apes 1968 version. The story just makes sense. The character building of the ape, the character building of the James Franco character, and just society in general. It just shows a lot of really cool stuff that's modern and that new moviegoers can really connect with. And I think that's what makes these reboot movies really popular because so far there's been three, and as far as I know, this fourth one is really doing well as well. So I think they're very excellent put together, and I'm really looking forward to watching the new one that just came out.
That whole trilogy, Dan, is a lot of people think it's a prequel because in the movie, they show the ship that Tyler's on being blasting off. They talk about it in that movie. It's on the TV. The news media is talking about when the guy from Harry Potter is fucking up the apes or something. They talk about that ship going off into space to do some mission, and it's the ship that belonged to Tyler.
I guess if anything, it could be not a split universe, but while that's happening, while they're traveling in space, all this madres going on here. Uh, well, I guess yeah. In essence, it would be
It's a prequel.
to
Yeah.
a prequel to an hour into the first part because the movie would the spaceship launched already, so it wouldn't be a prequel in that sense. But yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But very interesting, man. I really dug Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna have to watch this Marky Wahlberg one and get back to you guys and see if it still holds up. But I only recall watching it once when it first came out, and I was just like, oh, it's okay. And people just started riding on it, saying that it wasn't good. So, uh, not sure if it really still holds up. You liked it too, Andy? You had mentioned briefly.
The visually it was like great because like you said it's updated and you got better like background and the home planet is like okay, but I didn't like that whole like that monkey gets shot off and then he comes back. Like I didn't like all that. That was weird.
And what's funny, it's a Tim Burton movie.
Yes.
So that's another weird one. He brought one of the Batman movies, right? Is it the one with the nipples in the costume, or
No,
was he
that's
the one that
just
Joel
did
the
that?
first two,
Schumacher.
the
That's Joel
Batman
Schumacher.
and Batman
Batman
Returns.
Returns.
Oh,
Quick,
okay, okay.
quick tidbit. That movie with Marky Mark that was supposed to go to Schwarzenegger and Cameron. They agreed to make Planet of the Apes movie, but their schedules or something, Cameron kept delaying it. And then I think Fox just kind of gave up and like, let's make this one with Marky Mark and Burton.
Yeah, I think around that time period too, Mark Wahlberg, he was just on a roll. Wasn't he doing what was it? The one with George Clooney, they're in the desert, Ice Cube's in it. I mean, I think. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah,
Came off of
yeah.
Boogie Nights.
Three Kings.
Yeah, I think it's Three Kings where they're searching the gold in Iraq or something.
Yeah, so he was in Three Kings in '99, Perfect Storm 2000, Planet of the Apes 2001, Italian Job 2003. Like he was pretty busy around this time period. He's just on a roll.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you. Maybe by the next recording, I'll get a chance to watch it and check it out. But gentlemen, I think we've reached our point. Let's jump into our article of the week. All right, guys, found this article, ABC7, Very Zone Chicago. This article was something funny and something that I take to heart, man, because to me, I'm religious about this stuff. So it's very easy. The article says, "Judge me all you want, and I will judge this lady." It's "Judge me all you want." Mom sparks debate around returning shopping cart at grocery store. Now, this just even happened to me like 15 minutes before we started recording because we stopped by the grocery store on the way home from church, and the self checkout, because I was trying to do it quick because I didn't want to be late to the recording. So I picked up the few things. I went to do the self checkout, and now the cart is right over the edge of the self checkout. I'm in the last checkout lane, and it's right there. The cart bay is right there. And I'm taking the few things because I didn't pick up a lot. I just took up the 2 bags and I'm carrying it by my hand. So I don't really need the cart anymore. But something spoke to me and I'm like, let me return this cart. So I took the cart and I pushed it, maybe like 15 feet to where the bay was. And then I walked out. And then even Alana said, he's just like, oh, well, I figured it was close enough. And sometimes when we leave Jules, you'll leave the cart there at the end. And it's not really the bay of where to put carts, but you leave it right by the doorway. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Just something spoke to me about returning it back to the bay. But anyways, to the article, this lady, she went onto TikTok, made a video about how she does not return her carts. And the long and short of it is that the reason why she doesn't return it is because she deems the safety of her children to be more important. Because she has little kids. She's usually at the store, a single mom, or I don't know if she's a single mom, but she's there by herself without her husband. And she loads the groceries, loads the kids into their car. And she says that she just usually leaves the cart there on the side because she does not want to leave the kids alone in the car while she returns it to the corral or whatever. And to me, I don't know, man. I'm a big stickler. When I see people leaving their carts, I'm just like, man, mal educado. Like your parents didn't, beat you over the head enough when you were a kid to make you be like, we live in a society. We should all work together to maintain it, to keep it clean, to just keep order in society. So anyways, I welcome everybody to watch this lady's TikTok and defend herself. Some people are backing her up and saying that, yes, yeah, go ahead, go mom, do it. And there's some people that are shitting on her. So opening it up to you guys. Noel, let's start off with you, man. Are you a returner of the carts or do you leave it there if the corral is too far from your car?
No, I would say 99.5% of the time. Maybe one time in my life I didn't return it, maybe. So I'm giving myself that, But most of the time, yeah. There could have been one time in all my life that I didn't return it, but I always make an effort to return it. And I also make an effort to kind of park near one because I already know I'm going to have a cart. So I'm not going to park,
Exactly.
super
That's
far
what I
away.
do.
And then it's just like it's just easier for the people that work there. And what if it's raining, and the people that work there, they have to go even farther to get your fucking cart. It's just common courtesy, it doesn't cost much either, man. Couple of steps, people need their steps every day. Just get it done, dude. I get her reasoning. If she's by herself and she has like three really young kids, it could be complicated. But at the same time, if you can go to a store, you can go shopping, you can do everything you need to do with your kids, you can take your cart back with your kids, So
Right, I agree. To you, Andy, are you a returner of your cards? Now, if I had to take a guess, Andy, I would suspect that your percentage is lower than Noel's, and I appreciate that Noel gave like a little 0.%, just because you don't know if people are watching, and we don't want emails coming through be like, I remember seeing Noel on this date not return
There's
his card.
video and shit.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
pushing the cart and down the fucking parking lot.
Right. So, what about you, Andy?
I mean, I generally do it. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I just park
Oh,
it
there we
next to
go.
that little island where the tree is or something, or the bushes. And just like I hike it up there. But yeah, I like generally try to park by the cart corral, and push it in there and like do that. I mean, but personally, I don't really give a fuck.
That's the
They
sense I
do.
got from you, Andy, man.
There are people. We got serious problems in this world, and we're worried about a fucking cart.
I
And
got
plus,
that.
they got people to go and grab the carts. What's funny is when you sent the article, I was reading this. I literally, the day before I watched a video, there's a guy like on TikTok or YouTube going around fucking with people who don't put the cars back in the corral.
Yeah.
And then
Is
he
it the guy
slapped
that
like
puts the
stickers
sticker?
on them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
I've seen
fucking
those.
lady went ballistic on him. And I was just like, dude, what an asshole. Like,
So the
like
guy with the stickers is the asshole, or the people that
the
don't
guy
push
with
the
the
carts back?
stickers, because he's putting stickers on people's cars and shit.
Now these
And
aren't like super adhesive stuff. These are just like those
I think it's a magnet
Biden.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the Biden, like I did this sticker,
something like
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that.
And he's like, "Oh, look at this bad woman here." And like he was like all being like making it all dramatic and shit. And to me, I'm like, "You're the asshole, dude. Like, why the fuck do you care? Like, it's none of your business." But I'll give you this: that lady, it was a single woman, or it was a woman by herself. I didn't see no kids, and she fucking lost it because the guy kept touching her car, and he was just all being like, "I'm the cart doctor." I forgot what the hell he was saying, and I'm just like you didn't put your cart away. She just kept fucking losing it, and then she's pulling away, and he runs to the car and throws like a sticker or the magnet or whatever, and she fucking
Yeah,
flips out.
yeah, but come on, Andy. I get what you're saying, but it's just like in Seinfeld, George Costanza. It's like we live in a society here. If I ask you what time it is and you have a watch on your wrist, like the minimalist effort that it would take you to put your wrist up and go, oh, it's 12:01. I get that you don't need to, and there's bigger problems and all that stuff, but some little courtesy, some extension of effort for your fellow man, it goes a long way. If I'm driving and I'm trying to find a parking spot and there's carts everywhere in parking spots and I can't park, that pisses me off more
Yeah, when
than
people leave
uh,
them in front of the parking spot, yeah, that's not cool.
right. But now you're weighing judgment. You're creating this line that you say this situation it's okay, this situation is not. So you're the one passing the judgment. What if there's somebody that passes judgment on you and goes, hey, pushing it up the curb, that's not enough. I don't like that. You're the asshole. So that's what I'm saying. To me, it's just like we live in a society. You're supposed to push them back into the corral. Push the cart
Well,
back, man.
if the cart's in front one, the parking lot when I'm pulling in, I feel sorry for my wife. I'm like, hey, go move the car, and it might be a hot day. You know,
Right.
that's about it. Like, but yeah, that's not a cool thing. At least put it off to the side where people can pull in to park. But like I said, I put it back. I I don't care. I mean, but this whole thing, this is a whole thing in like on social media now. Like, but the problem where this lady messed up, she said like, I don't care what you think. Like, I got kids. Like that not is not a valid excuse. I think she's taking the easy way out, you know? And like, you just don't want to do it, don't fucking do it. But don't put it on social media saying, I don't care what y'all think of me and all this shit. Like, nah, that's not cool either.
Yeah, like you're almost bragging about it. Like, look what I
Yes.
did, and like you're
Yeah,
proud of
and
it.
be cool. Validate me. Tell me it's fine that I'm doing this. Like, no, it's not fine, to be honest with you. But you're being a complete asshole by doing that. Like people, like
Yeah,
younger people, always looking for validation when they don't do something right. That's not cool. It's not cool. But like, yeah, like you said, I'm doing it. Say it. Tell me it's cool. And no, it's not. But
yeah. I mean, it's an unwritten rule, man.
yeah,
It's like when you go shopping at the grocery store. Let's say you get a bag of chips, for example, and then you're going down the aisles, and you're like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want this bag of chips. Are you gonna just put it in the milk aisle, or are you gonna go back to where you got it from and put it
not
back?
put it in the milk aisle.
Oh
No,
man,
man.
what the
And,
hell, dude?
Andy's all which way wrong, man. I've gone
Now, if it's
shopping with
like
this
meat
guy.
or something, I might just go dump it at the nearest like
No,
frozen or not. I want to say for cold area. I'll put it there. But yeah, like chips, like man.
Andy, you're the reason society is crumbling and failing, man. People like you, man.
What
I
did I
I
do, man?
I
I
mean,
pay my
I get it.
taxes
I get it. It's a small
and
little
I shop
nugget
at a high end
in
store,
the
Jules.
it's a small nugget in the bigger problems of the world.
See, this is the
But
problem. Everybody gets upset about little things, and they don't get pissed off about the big things.
right, I agree. You should.
I agree with you. It's not right. It's not right. But it's just like, yeah, it sucks. But it's just it is what a lot of people do it. I'm not saying they're right, but I
I
don't
mean,
know. Me putting back them chips is gonna solve world hunger.
now I don't want to put anybody on blast here, but I know of a person who throws garbage on the street because he's like, we have people. The city has people hired to come clean this stuff, so I can just throw garbage onto the street, and somebody else would pick it up. And to me, yes, there is somebody to pick up garbage that is blown by wind, but not intentionally. If every citizen in the city starts throwing their garbage in the street, there's not enough sanitation workers to do that. So I argue with this gentleman all the time, but I can't convince him, man. I don't understand. And those are the little things that I'm talking about. The little effort to take your leftover 7-Eleven big gulp canister and go to the garbage and throw it away.
You know what you should do then? Buy him a refillable one and see what he does with the refillable one.
Right. Yeah.
I
I don't
think
know.
Danny's one of those shoppers that he goes in with his own bag, so he won't use plastic bags. Are you turning into that person, Danny?
I would, but I can't find mine, man. When I moved, I did have like I had like 6 of them, like those tote bag things,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what happened with them. I used to even keep them in the truck so that when I would
Yeah.
go shopping, and it wasn't really to replace the plastic because I would still get the plastic, but to help me bring them into the house so I wouldn't have to bring like 6 bags in one hand. I'd put them in the little tote thing and I would just carry the tote thing in.
So it sounds like to me you're like, hey, young man, double bag those bags for me, please, because I need extra
Right.
bags.
Right.
No, yeah, of course, everybody gets to do their part, and I hear you then. But to me, at this point, I'm like, yeah, like putting the cart back. Yeah, that's why if I try to park next to it, I'll put the cart in there. But I'm not like parking like I got a brand new car. I'm gonna park all the way at the end of the parking lot so nobody parks near me, and I just leave the car there. No, that's not cool. But to me, I'm like, I don't care.
I agree. The solution is park close to the corral. If I'm going to Costco or Sam's and I know I'm bringing a ton of bulk stuff, I park close to the corral. And my Costco out here, for some reason, the corral is every other aisle. So there is an aisle where there is no corrals. And I never park down that aisle because I know I'm going to bring a cart with me. I'm going to go get some dog food, some toilet paper, and a thing of mashed potatoes. Well, how am I going to carry all this shit in my hands? And I don't want to be that guy that leaves my cart there. So I park next to the corral.
Yeah, social norms, man. Like waiting at the line at Costco, and should you wait for that person to pull up till you go to the first one, or just go around them and do all that other stuff? We know a gentleman that just said, "Hell no, be a man and just cut them off, or push them, or honk at them, and all this bullshit." To get gas, you're gonna go to fight for fucking gas.
Yeah, man. That's the crazy world we live in. But I think has got it solved is Aldi, because you have to give that quarter to like get the actual cart, and then you have to put it back to get your quarter back. So maybe if every grocery chain did that, then people would have to return them.
You taking away jobs, Noel, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah,
I was
I
a
mean,
cart pusher,
I'm sure they could
Man,
give
and
them more work to
and I
do.
was a
Just
union cart pusher.
that's what makes the thing even worse, Noel. Andy was a car pusher, and he just leaves a mess out of the parking lot.
oh man, that's not right, dude.
I
You
was
know,
like, I got to get promoted before winter because I don't want to push these carts in the winter. And I got promoted before winter. So thank God. My
dude,
hard work paid off.
back in the day, I used to work at Office Depot, and at night when we were closing the store, we'd have to go and get all the carts. And we worked in like a big lot where there was like a Home Depot and a whole bunch of other stuff. There'd be times, bro, I'd have to walk all the way across the other side of the lot to the Home Depot side to get one of our Office Depot carts. It frustrated me, man. I was like, what the hell is wrong with people, man? Like, and exactly like you said, Daniel, like we live in a society, dude. What the fuck, dude? It's a minimal effort required to return the cart to the right spot, man. But hey, man, it is what it is. We can only control our own actions and be good with who we are as people, and hopefully let God sort the rest of it out. But anyway, everybody, that wraps things up for today. I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, please follow us on X at FFR Podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions, the email to drop that is ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir. About to find what we're gonna eat for lunch, man. I'm kind of feeling like maybe some nachos.
Ooh,
I got a hankering for some nachos. Yeah.
Yeah, some TBK nachos, that super stuff.
Oh man, I wish if there was one close by me, I would definitely take the trek out there. But no, alas, I'll probably have to stick with Tostitos, melted cheese, and hopefully it's not processed to the bone.
All right, we got Andy here.
It's all good, Andy. I want to thank you guys for listening. And the day of this recording is Father's Day. I hope everybody had a good Father's Day, and we'll catch you next time.
Happy Father's Day to all the good fathers out there. We wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
That was cool, Dad.